Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the Elliot Omanson Show with Elliot Omanson and
Nathaniel Vossman.
We have a bit of a different thing to talk about today. Partially me bragging and partially me commenting on just some interesting things that I got to experience last week. So,
yeah, last week was pretty exciting week for you.
It was. It's interesting. Like just the more you work towards something and the more access you gain, the more connections you build. It's kind of interesting. When I was married, and I was raising my kids, still am, I always had so much anxiety over getting home from work. Like I needed to get home from work. I wouldn't network because a lot of networking takes place outside of work hours, right?
Yeah.
And I felt like I had this responsibility to go home and give the wife a break, right? And so I wouldn't leave early to go do well. And I never really found a lot of value in doing like local networking events.
Yeah, because a lot of the local ones are, you get some losers there. Depends on where you're going.
No. I hate to say it, but yeah, you just, it's like, yeah, it's I'm sure there's a world in which that benefits people. And maybe I'm just too short-sighted, right? Maybe, you just got to do it a really long time and build that local network and, everything's hunting for the needles in the haystack.
I'm sure there's some benefit, yeah.
Yeah, but I just never saw it. And so, but then shortly before I got divorced, I got introduced to a guy and he took a liking to me for some reason and started expanding my network. And that's when I really first got to see how true that saying is, your network is your net worth, right? And so through this individual, I've been able to build some connections. Those connections connected me to people, like Charlie Kirk and Turning Point. And through there, you get to meet everybody. I mean, oh my goodness. Like that is the number one organization if you want to get plugged in and connected to the, right-wing political sphere of America. Nobody does it better than Turning Point.
Oh yeah, they're the top. So
yeah, absolutely. And then from that, I got actually connected to Mercury One, which is Glenn Beck's charity. And so that's and so this is actually the third time I've got to go to Mar-a-Lago, and this time I was actually taken as the guest at Glenn Beck for what's called the American Journey experience. And so Glenn Beck has, I think, the largest private collection of American artifacts, and there's some really cool stuff. And I think we're going to show pictures of some of this stuff. And it was interesting. I was talking to a buddy of mine from the Army who's very, very on Facebook. We have a very antagonistic relationship, but he DM'd me last night with this very funny comment. He said, Trump only, and there's a meme, there's a picture going around of Donald Trump blowing Bill Clinton. And they try to claim that it's not AI.
I have not seen this yet.
You've not seen it?
Not yet. Okay. I'm sure I will as soon as I open my phone after this. I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay. And so what was interesting is a very far left friend of mine posted that, and my comment under it was, "Aren't you the party of all love is good love, and now you're using two men pleasuring each other to make fun of one of them?" Like, I'm confused. Is it okay that two men love one another, or is it not okay that two men love one another? Because you're making fun of two men for whatever they're doing.
I'm all into it. Two presidents, getting on and like,
I mean,
I'm all for it.
Yeah, right. And so this buddy of mine last night, he DMs me from one of my posts about Mar-a-Lago, and he goes something about Donald Trump only blows Democrats. And so I responded back, and we actually had a really positive conversation. And that for some reason, when we're just commenting on each other's posts, we don't have, right? Yeah. And so I actually sent him pictures of like the flag that flew over Normandy.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that is like
Really cool.
really cool. FDR's wheelchair, which I don't have a picture of, but I was commenting that Glenn Beck owns that. The rough draft to the U.S. Constitution.
And Glenn Beck owns all these?
Yes.
Is that, okay, so I didn't realize like that Glenn Beck was the one that had this. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Damn.
yeah.
I
The
can't even
original
imagine.
rough draft to the U.S. Constitution. Like, how do you get that?
I can't imagine how much that's valued at.
Yeah. Okay. So he just has like this incredible collection of artifacts, and I'm pretty sure it's the largest private collection in the world. And so Mar-a-Lago was a fundraiser for the American Journey experience. My girlfriend Rhonda and I got flown down there and put up at a hotel with Glenn Beck's team, and he was also gracious enough to allow me to bring 25 of my friends. So that was really cool. And we had some phenomenal people there. We had brought somebody that is one of, I think, 7 companies that owns one of 7 companies that ever put satellites into space. And that's rarefied air.
Yeah.
Brought an incredible, hilarious right-wing social media podcaster out of Canada. Most people know him as Kiki on Instagram.
Kiki.
Yeah, Kiki.
Yeah.
And so it was just interesting being in this very faith-based, very patriotic, very Americana fundraiser, right? And then always being at Mar-a-Lago is, it's just this incredible place. But then I left there and I went to New York, and I went to speak at what's called the Influencers Conference. Now, one of my Army buddies made a comment. He's like, what's up with all the white people? Where's the black people at? On my post about Mar-a-Lago. And one of the things I commented on is, well, I just went to the bastion of liberalism. The Influencers Conference has an incredible collection of people, but it's the exact opposite side of the political spectrum.
Yeah.
So we had the former head of the Human Rights Movement, the largest LGBTQ rights organization in the world, and numerous other people that are very influential in the gay rights movement. We had a woman who I actually really like, and I think we get along pretty well, who is one of the 36 intelligence officers that Tulsi Gabbard is currently investigating for the Russian collusion hoax. But everybody in the influencers conference, for the most part, I mean, I don't really know their political views, but I mean, you can kind of infer them.
You kind of know when you meet someone.
Yeah. And so I commented to my Army buddies. I was like, well, I just went from Mar-a-Lago, which is all right-wingers, to the Influencers Conference, which is all left-wingers. And I got news for you. There's no more black people at the Influencers Conference than there is at Mar-a-Lago. You got 1 or 2, right? That's about it,
Yeah.
right? And so my point with that is, it's just looking in, they see at Mar-a-Lago all white people, and they immediately make judgments or assumptions about it, right? I told them, it's probably just because we were near a pool. That's what you got to do with your Army buddies.
Oh man.
And maybe New York, it's just too cold. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. But actually, one of the black guys that was at the Influencers Conference, I really, really like. He's known online as Guitaro 5000. And I think I'm working on bringing him to Kansas City. And I think him and his whole team. And I think that'll be really cool. I love just the positive approach like that he's feeding into humanity, into social media. He does a much better job of doing that than I do.
Yeah, a little bit.
But when you're just doing music and you're singing with people, there's nothing really there to be divisive about, right?
Good videos are good vibes.
Yeah, good vibes. And so I find it interesting. Like, one, I'm really proud of the fact that I get to walk in both sides of this. I don't think very many people are get out of their bubble, right? And I think more and more we're all in bubbles. I was reading something a while ago about in the 50s and 60s, the average person was a member of 8 different organizations, like their church, social clubs, VFWs, Kiwanis, or whatever that's called, the Lions Club, the Masonic Lodge, whatever, right? Bowling leagues, right? But they were connected to 8 different groups. And today it's down to 2. And I think that, and so we sit down at dinner in New York, and Yael, I hope I'm saying that right, is talking about everything that she's going through with the administration or whatever. And so I always love to kind of say heinous shit and royal the crowd. And there's about 8 of us at the table, myself, Rhonda, and 6 others. And I'm like, and I said something about being a right-wing extremist. And everybody at the table starts cracking up, and they're all laughing like, aha, yeah, right. And this guy's the other side of Rhonda's like, yeah, no, for real. I got to give Rhonda credit because she's very much like apolitical. Is that the right term?
Yeah, apolitical, yeah.
And she goes, oh, no, we literally just left Donald Trump's house to come here.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, that whole table just went dead silence, right? And then Rhonda said something that I thought was really awesome. She said something about, hey, but if we can't have a conversation and disagree, then why the hell are we, like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And that actually kind of brought the table back to talking again. And one thing I make a point of doing is, like, I don't argue with anything they're putting out, because my intention is I want to hear truthfully what they really think.
Yeah.
And when you start arguing with people, that doesn't really.
Yeah, you never get anywhere arguing. And it's such a silly thing that people, I don't know what it is about politics out of all things that, like, causes people to be so divisive about it. Like, it's just like, I don't know, like in sports and stuff, you get different teams and it's like the rivalries are more good intention, but something about politics just gets people so riled up.
Well, and I truly do believe it's because, and I saw this, I don't know if we've commented on this on our pod before, but the first time I saw it was when I went and served a mission for the Mormon Church in California. And it was in the mid-90s. There was this huge revival of Christianity that made Christianity cool again for kids in high school and college. You had the Promise Keepers, you had the Harvest Crusaders, you had the Calvary Chapel, the Crystal Cathedral, and it was really interesting to watch the animosity, the vitriol that group of people had towards everyone else, right? That was the first time I'd ever really seen extreme ideology and how divisive it made everything. And then serving the military and going overseas into the Islamic world, right? And watching everything in America get more and more divisive as well. There is a very common element that all 3 of these situations have in common. And what I believe is happening is anytime I can make out what the other side wants to do to result in death, now emotions run rampant and violence occurs, right? And so in the religious worlds, whether it was those Christians or whether it was Islam, the violence comes from the idea, well, because there's one thing worse than physical death to all religious people, and that's spiritual death. And so if you believe that Mormons or Jehovah's Witnesses or Catholics are all going to hell, right? And that if you allow that ideology into your children and lead your children away from whatever your belief system is, right? Well, what are you willing to do to stop that? And Islam, absolutely, just like with Christians and everything else, right? In fact, I was listening to this comedian this morning. He was talking about Hitler and how most likely Hitler's in hell. And he goes, but Christians believe that if you don't believe in Christ, you go to hell, which means all the Jews are in hell too, with Hitler. And he goes, imagine Hitler's like, Oh, going over to the devil. Why is there so many Jews down here? And he's like, Satan's going to be like, well, some guy went and killed a whole bunch of them. You might have wanted to think that one through, right? And it just, what I love about that joke is it highlights the idea that if you don't think like I do, right, you go to hell. If you don't think like, and so if you look at like, and it's obviously it's easier for me to take this from a Democrat standpoint, right? But, you know, if I don't agree to all your crazy ass taxes and reductions of quality of living, you're going to cause global warming, and you're going to drown all the indigenous populations of all the island nations or whatever. You know, you always hear like global warming is going to kill everybody, right? If I don't vote for you to take my taxes and give school lunches for free, you're starving kids to death. If I don't allow you to abort your children, I'm killing women. Every single argument has been taken to the extreme outcome of you're killing people by not agreeing with me, right?
Yeah.
And that shit leads to because if you truly believe that, and this is what I said to people back when Trump was running for election again. You had this entire leadership of a party that claimed Donald Trump is the single greatest threat to democracy. He's a tyrant. He's a dictator, right? But then they all promised to peacefully transfer power to him. I was like, am I the only one like seeing the irony in this? Because if you truly believe the shit you're spewing, you have a moral obligation not to peacefully transfer power.
Yeah. It'd be better to, break the norm, break the law, and not transfer power.
Absolutely.
Take power.
And it's been done in America, wasn't it? Wasn't it done in America? Isn't one of the top 4 ranked presidents of all time the guy that completely suspended the Constitution and all law? Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
And he's heralded.
Yeah.
Heralded is one of the top presidents of all time. Refused to allow people to exercise their freedoms and their rights.
Yeah.
To succeed from the Union, right? He did it. So it can't always be wrong. Can it?
That's a good point. I mean, and in their mind, it wouldn't be wrong if they truly believed that.
Well, it can't be. It can't be. That's like me saying that because I believe it's wrong to kill somebody, I'm going to stand idly by and let you murder my family.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, yeah. No, it doesn't work. Right? And so it's just, and I'll tell you another story from New York that I just think really shows, everybody talks about TDS, right? The Trump derangement syndrome. So one thing about influence is it's phenomenal. And I would highly recommend anybody that's lucky enough to ever get a chance to become a part of this organization. This conference is 4 days and it spans everything. There's breakout sessions on human sexuality. There's breakout sessions on psychology. There's breakout sessions on sleep, right? From like renowned sleep experts, right? Breakout sessions on taxes and asset protection. And they had Dr. Seuss, the woman that writes under Dr. Seuss's pen name and has since 1991, right? So it's literally, there's like just so much different things going on, right? And so I'm in this one talking about and I'd have to pull up the picture. There's some word for it, but it's like these 4 personality aspects that are like the worst, right? So psychopathy, narcissism, sadism, and I can't remember the 4th one. But she starts off talking, the doctor starts talking about psychopathy and asks this question. How long do you think in our society we've been talking about psychopathy? Multiple people in the room blurted out Trump. And I was like, are you all serious?
Yeah, it's pretty bad TDS.
Yeah, I'm like, so the whole world was full of sane, non-psychopathic people until 10 years ago.
Apparently.
I'm like, how fucked up are you?
Yeah.
That your entire worldview is so controlled, even in the realm of psychology, your worldview is controlled by one man. And my first thought was probably when Hitler came onto the scene. I didn't really know. I never said, we didn't get around to cover this in my 4 days of community college. It might have been on the 5th day. And I missed it. But yeah, it was the 1940s. And I was like, well, now that makes sense, right? But it's not like Hitler was the first one.
Oh, yeah. Definitely not.
You know what I mean? But I just found it really wild that like a group of very intelligent people, and you had multiple people in the room that thought Donald Trump's the first person that's ever caused us to talk about people being psychopaths. It just blew my mind.
Yeah. It's the disproportionate amount of like impact that one person can have on their lives for like no real reason, dude. Like
no real reason.
Like I understand he's the president of our country, but at the same time, like, let's be honest, like whoever's president doesn't really affect any individual that much.
No, I mean, it really doesn't. Like, I think the only thing that I can think of that somebody could claim Trump directly is impacting them on would be getting abortion overturned on a national level. I can't think of anything else that he could directly claim responsibility for. And even then, it didn't make it illegal in America. It just put it back to the state where it should have been in the first place.
I was going to say, it's still not like a federal ban.
No federal ban on it. As much as I think there should be. But.
And I still think the abortion thing's so overtalked. Like, that's a fucking abortion, dude. Like, it's not that big of a deal. I'm against abortion.
People are going to attack you for that because you're a man. You don't have a uterus. Well, maybe I identify as having one.
I just think it's like so dumb that like that gets blown so far out of proportion. Like,
yeah,
it's a fucking abortion, dude.
Yeah,
like, you shouldn't be having abortions in the first place,
right? And then I guess the second thing would be they just changed the passports to where you have to have the gender at which you were born with on your passport. But it is very little. I'm just talking, you're talking about a president that has done more faster than any president ever. And it's like, how many of these things are really impacting you directly?
Not much.
Right? I mean, you could try to claim tariffs or raise the price of food, except for that's bullshit because the last guy increased the price of your food 10 times what Trump has.
Yeah, and I still am yet to really, at least on my own personal grocery shopping. I don't know about other stores, but where I shop, I pay the exact same as I did a year ago. But who the hell knows? I'm sure it's up at other places, but
yeah. I
haven't really fallen victim to any kind of like price increases personally. But
well, I was listening to MS Now. Wouldn't want to dead name them.
Did they change it already?
Yeah, they've changed it to MS Now from MSNBC.
So, like, when you're watching on TV, does it say MS Now?
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know about TV. I don't watch TV, but
me neither.
On the app,
it's changed.
Yeah, it's now MS Now.
Yeah.
Now, what I find interesting about that, right? Because isn't the left got like all their panties in a wad about Musk buying Twitter, changing it to X, and oligarchies controlling our media, and the Murdochs and Fox? Do you know what the MS stands for in MSNBC?
What?
I bet you'll never guess.
I'm sure I know because I've definitely looked it up.
Okay, Microsoft. That's what the MS stands for.
Is it?
Yeah, fact check me.
I didn't know that. Actually, I did know that. Interesting.
Okay. And so to me, it's kind of like they were talking about Trump falling asleep in a meeting yesterday. Don't come at me complaining about right-wing billionaires buying media outlets. Don't come at me about Trump falling asleep because you've had left-wing billionaires buying your media outlets for decades.
Yeah, it is Microsoft.
Uh-huh.
I don't know why I didn't know that. Interesting.
Gotcha, bitch. So, yeah, it's Microsoft.
Crazy.
Yeah. And Bezos owns a newspaper, and CNN was... who founded CNN? Billionaire.
Which one?
Ted Turner. So CNN was Ted Turner, MSNBC is Microsoft and Bill Gates, Washington Post is Bezos.
Yeah, Washington Post is pretty bad.
So you want to come at me that like the Murdochs own Fox and Musk owns Twitter? Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, at a certain point, when you got like a B in your net worth, it's like you're rich, and all of them are very, very rich.
Yeah. Yeah, and you only really have two on the right that I can think of, Peter Thiel and Musk.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the Koch brothers, but they're not like all that. I don't think they're all that. If they're influential, they're more behind the scenes.
Yeah, they're not as out there.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, it was just a really neat week to go from like a very heavy Christian, right-wing, patriotic event at Mar-a-Lago to then a very left-wing, liberal event in New York, and just kind of have that dichotomy. And I'll be honest, I thoroughly enjoyed both.
Yeah.
I can't even tell you that I liked one more than the other. And I just think more people need to like get out of their bubble and go to events and things that the other side puts on. You know, I went and listened to the head of the DNC when they came to Kansas City talk. I go to the protests when the Democrats want to go cry about.
Yeah, no, that's tough. That I don't know if I could do. All the other stuff, yeah, but the protests, oh man.
No, but I just think it's good to see people in their element, especially when they think they're surrounded by all of their own kind.
Yeah, they feel comfortable.
Yeah, they're comfortable. It's like honesty comes out.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, people just need to realize that there's more to life than politics, and that we're all human and we're all Americans.
Yeah,
and
I need to do more of that personally.
And the whole idea of like hating the other side just to hate the other side is ridiculous. It's like there's going to be good and bad people all over, regardless of political opinion. And just because someone has like a different like vision for our country, whether it be tax or whether it be immigration or anything, it's really not that serious. And
well, the fact of the matter is everybody wants the same outcome for the most part. Yeah. I'd say 80% want the same outcome.
Yeah.
They want everybody to be able to live and feed themselves and have a roof over their head. And
precisely.
You know, that's all everybody wants.
And people just have a different opinion on how we get there.
Yes. And if you make out the other person's way of getting there to be killing you, I think that's a really bad thing to be doing.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't care what side you're on if you're doing that.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Well, there you go. Hopefully you can make this a little more interesting, include some of the pictures and video I took.
Oh, yeah.
It was one of the really cool things. I got to see Tatiana, who is the former female chess champion from the USSR. Play 10 simultaneous speed chess games
at the same time.
At the same freaking time.
I didn't realize it was at the same time. I thought you should just go back.
No. It was 10 games of speed chess, 1 versus 10 simultaneously.
She won them all?
Yeah.
Oh. Who was she playing against? Like other actual chess players?
Well, one of the people she played against just took the gold medal and the silver medal at the U.S. For the U.S. team in Romania for the chess boxing. So I don't know how good their chess is versus their boxing. But that guy, his name's Nick. He's actually a good friend of mine. And I've been at Washington Park in New York and watched him play the OGs. Washington Park's like the famous park where all the, you just have chess table after chess table set up.
Seriously, yeah.
Yeah, and they just sit there all day long and they play for money. You're never going to beat these guys.
Yeah.
But I've watched Nick play them. I think he might have lasted the longest. I think technically he kind of won because he ran the timeout on her. But one of the interesting things about it is, so I think one of the flaws to the setup was they hit their, so she comes up to him, she does her move, the time clicker goes to him, she moves on, he makes his move, and now her time's running out.
Yeah,
while she goes to 9 other people.
I was say it sounds almost impossible.
Yeah, and so I think that technically via time she lost, but then everybody's like, well, let's just keep it going.
Yeah,
and she went around and played all the rest.
How are you supposed to do it fast enough with 10?
Well, and then the other thing they did is they gave her, depending on your team and how your team performed in a bunch of other events, the better you performed, the bigger the time deduction she got to start with.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And one of the events, I got to brag here for a second. One of the events was you had a team of, I think teams of 5, and you had the floor is lava. And so they had this red tarp, laid out a huge tarp over the floor, and you had 3 like step platforms, and then you had like 3 or 4 pieces of wood, and you had to move your whole team from one side to the other and back without anybody touching the red tarp. And each piece of wood is a different length. And on our way, we won our event. On our way back, I took one of the 2x4s and I made everybody else go. And then I used it like a pole vault.
Did it work?
Oh, yeah. I just put it into the floor and jumped and held onto the top of it and just rode that shit all the way over and landed on the other side.
Oh, when it works, it looks beautiful. If it didn't work, that would have been.
Because when I landed on the stool, I was this close to falling.
Yeah.
Falling over. And, I've got to go.
Okay.
All right. See you guys.
All right.
Until next time. Bye.